there.
Oh,
Good
thank
morning.
God. That was so much better than that crap. The other guy was, oh shit. Dude, you're right here. And hey, good morning, Charles.
Good
I'm so
morning,
sorry
Seth.
about that.
How are you?
I mean, I try too. It's not quite as good as Ben, but I mean, oh my God. Do 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 do.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great?
I love it, man.
All right.
Is it long legs and a short temper?
Long legs and a short temper.
I love it.
Kind of.
You know, my wife is like my wife is 5'10" and a former Division I soccer player. Mm-hmm. So yes, long legs and a short temper.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Ooh, my camera all wrong today.
Oh my God, he's moving around. Good morning, dude.
A big thanks to Ben Coombs and Lambert Drive Studios. They kicked that out this week, and it is just fantastic and love it. So let's hit up the chat. Let's just start there because
who's
why
here?
not, right?
That's our family. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Herb from Fireside Studios saying good morning, friends. Wayne McConnell, he's here early because Tony's late. And I was able to catch a little bit of Tony today, and kind of got kidnapped by the wife for coffee this morning, and so was a victim. But and of course we've got Lucas of L&M Guitar Corner. Good morning, Paul McNary, Ryan Hall. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Ben Coombs, thank you so much for that theme song. Thank you, Lambert Drive Studios. Bo, Guitar Man 45 is in. William De Silva is here. Who else? And Quentin James. Hey, Quentin James, how you doing? Charles Green here. How you doing?
So that tone that Ben dialed in was such a classic. Man, it's like a tiny crunch, but super clean and all like the good harmonics. I like it, and it's very upbeat and catchy. So he was feeling a part of the Guitar Safari vibe. I think that was maybe in there when he was doing the deal because it came out amazing.
That is amazing. It just I love the way it is. There are different versions of that out there, right? And so I've heard a couple of, and this one I had not heard. This was a surprise when it was sent to me. So they really worked on that, and it is just phenomenal. So welcome, Dennis Ellis and Octopus Ears, Graphite and Cigars. Really appreciate all that. Okay, appreciate everybody coming in. So we've got an interesting topic today, right? And so we're talking about, sometimes you might be a little gassed out, right? Worrying about chasing that next thing, or finding that new guitar, or chasing after that one you always wanted. And so you brought up the idea of this guitar life balance. And so why don't you talk about that a little bit? Because I thought it was a really cool idea.
Some people get into guitar and initially they get gas on gear, right? Mm-hmm. But that wasn't my journey really at all. I played guitar, as a little kid and had a ton of gear, but it wasn't like it just was happening. It wasn't a quest. I didn't consider myself a safari person, but I guess that I was. But I've always felt like all you needed was an acoustic guitar, right? And then you'd be good. I was all through my 20s and 30s, but then when my dad passed away, my stepdad, and I inherited all his electric gear, it was like this one here, the Strat Sienna Burst. Oh my God, it plays so it started me on, why does it sound so good? How did he get those tones? And I had to kind of reverse engineer his pedal board. I had pictures and I had stuff. I had all the equipment, and I was able to get pretty much his sound. So, so you go on these ebbs and flows, right? Of your, sometimes you're super gassing, you're getting a lot of stuff. Other times you might be interested in other things. You got other stuff going on. You're having a baby, right? So maybe you didn't pick up your guitar for 6 months or whatever. And so it's about finding that balance to where we stay consistent, and we're consistently getting better at what we're achieving what we're going for our goals. And still having balance. What I was actually this is a bit, because it's a selfish indulgence, is learning about what everybody else in the chat is doing in their lives other than guitar. Because we're all here because we love guitar, and we talk a ton about guitar, and everything that we talk about, even when we're talking about your lawnmower that broke or whatever it is, we'll bring it back to guitar, because every lawnmower is equal like 0.65 of a Telecaster.
There you go.
Right? So it all works out. So that was my thought for the topic, right?
I love that. I love that idea of it. And I had a little bit different take on it, and I'll tell you in a minute. Let me welcome a few people in. We've got Hip Metal Works has entered the chat. Good morning, my friend. I know it's early for you out there. And Ryan from OU812.
Oh,
and but this, one of the things that I had spied in the chat was Octopus Ears. Okay, and he's another guy out in your area, right? He hangs out with Laz quite a bit. So another one that you might want to hook up with. And I gave Laz your email, so he should be hitting you up sometime. But
we emailed.
Okay, great. Excellent. So Octopus Ears is right out there with him. And he said, I've got to say, I've fallen back in love with the guitar I already had. And that feeling is just as good as getting a new guitar. And that is so true. When you picked up that guitar that you have not played in a while, and you're like, why did I ever put this down?
Hey, I think that we all talk about the times that we pick up our guitars and they went from playing, they were playing really good, and then I picked it up and it needed some adjustments and it was playing like shit. But have you ever picked up a guitar that you swear last time you put it down, it didn't play that good? And you pick it up and you play it and you're like, what? Did somebody sneak in? Do I have elves in my house sneaking in and setting my shit up?
Yeah.
Because it's happened to me where I think maybe I had been playing a guitar with more relief than it needed or whatever, and the neck adjusted itself with weather, and I was like, oh my God, it might have been this Gibson right here.
I do have a guitar like that. I've got an Epiphone traditional Pro 3 and all, Les Paul style, all in black, and it's a guitar my son bought during the pandemic because he decided he wanted to start learning playing. And of course, like a lot of people, he kind of lost interest, and so now it's in here with all my little babies, and and I maintain it every 6 months or so. I take it out and I play it and make sure it gets some use so that it doesn't go to pot, and sometimes I pick it up, and sometimes it feels like the strings are barbed wire, and sometimes I pick it up after, and I'll make, and I'll change the strings or whatever in the case may be, and it'll play like a completely different guitar, and I'm like, why don't I pick this up more, right? And so,
I've seen guitars where the necks change on the daily, like you might as well just leave the truss rod adjuster in. Because you're going to be doing it tomorrow morning. So
Herb is having a conversation in the chat with Ben. He's telling Ben that he fired his producer, and then you scroll down a little bit, and he says, "Wait a minute, I am my producer."
Oh,
Herb's got some really cool. Herb has been doing some really cool things with his shorts, and I'm anxious for him to do longer videos again, right? Because the production level on his stuff is really cool. I want to see him playing more long term,
Right.
So,
but I do like the shorts. The shorts are cool because
he's got the look. He's got everything. He just, I want to see some longer form stuff so he gets more attention. But don't fire yourself, Herb. You're doing a really good job. And so, but yeah, that was, I wanted to go ahead and say that. For me, this whole thing of this is trying to keep this balance, right? Because initially my wife wasn't really on board with the whole guitar thing. And so why you need more than one was a constant conversation until I started doing the fabric tops, right? And now
but it was why do you need more than one guitar, not why do you need to play guitar? Because playing guitar is an obvious outlet that every human being needs an outlet. So
right.
But why more than one? I can kind of, being a minimalist, right? Why more than one?
Right, and I get that, because especially you're someone outside of it and you don't play, and it doesn't make sense. But they all do a different thing, right?
Yeah, why more
they all do a different thing. They all have a different vibe to them, and so so she wasn't really on board with that, and so I had to balance the time that I'm spending on guitar stuff and the time I'm spending with my family, because how much time I have off from work is limited, right? And so, having that balance, but there's also that financial balance too, right? Of the things you need to provide for your family and the things you need to go ahead and do in regular life. And, and so how much do you chase down that gear, right? And how frugal do you have to be? And, folks that know me know I'm super cheap. I will wait for the deal, right?
Yeah, we got that in common for sure.
But there are times when I really, really want something. And I have to make that decision of, what is this going to do, to my family dynamic? What is this going to do to our financial dynamic, if I do engage in this?
Yep. You got to know when to throttle back, and know that hopefully for us, life has more to offer, and we have the future ahead of us, and we'll have time to build more stuff. And there'll be times where there will be the ebbs and flows. I've had times where I've had 5 guitars to build, ready to build parts, and going crazy. And right now I've got a time where I'm not building any guitars right now, because I'm moving everything that I own, hopefully for the last time. So there's that, right? Like, you got that. And I love to build. But I have to prioritize. And to be able to build, I got to move my ass.
Yeah. And I've been in the same thing, too. I was doing so many for a long time that, after doing Unbelievables, I kind of hit a wall and I had to take a break. And so now I'm just getting back into it. And of course, I'm working on 2 at the same time again, but it's another story. But we got some more cool cats in the chat. We have been joined by Blackjack Guitar. Hello there, buddy. How you doing? And we got Ferd Burfel. Glad you made here. Oh, and by the way, Lucas, how dare you go to Legoland without me? We're going to have a talk about that. Yeah, we're going to have a talk about that later. Martian Murray, good morning to you. Good morning, my friend. Good morning.
It was Lucas did a Katana versus Spark video. Was that? Dude. So you should know this just personally, Lucas and Martin. I was on a website just a little bit after, like, I really do need to get that Spark now. Not the tiny one, but the bigger one,
the mini
for my
one.
House.
Yeah, the mini one.
Not the tiny one, but
there's the ultra small one. That's like the Go or something like that.
Yeah, but then not the other little box. Yeah. I want the original. I think.
The original is the Spark 40.
2 4-inch speakers, because I'm going to be playing it in my new place, which is the bedrooms are like 250 square feet, but they're very tall, so they'll have good acoustics. So I don't want something. I was going to keep my classic in the house, but I tried it and it's too much.
Ben has added into chat that it's cost effective, Charles, not cheap.
Cost. Okay.
Wayne McConnell adds in, a good mechanic needs lots of tools. I
call it poverty persuaded.
I love these little one-liners that come in, right? I like that. A good mechanic needs lots of tools. The right tool for.
I like this one. Have what you need, and need what you have. So, like, don't have more shit that you don't need around, but have everything you need.
Morning, Eddie Fay.
If you need it, get it. Especially if it's a tool, buy it. It's smart.
Yeah,
tools are smart.
That's why I am so thankful to Martin and Villeman Guitar Corner. That file, and more importantly, that the binding tape dispenser I've been wanting for ever. And you know how easy that's going to make my life, right?
You're going to save so much time with the tape dispensing.
And so really, really appreciate that. Having that right tool for the job is tremendously important. Morning, Michael Krause. And Michael Krause says, I guess I'm a cost-effective shopper. Sounds much better than a bottom feeder. Never, Michael Krause. You're awesome. You are awesome.
A bottom feeder.
Oh.
You ever have those days where so it was like the end of the supply of coffee. I do my shopping on Sunday. And we're like down to, and normally it's like 8 scoops of the into the thing to make the coffee thing. And I think I had like 5.5 scoops and I'm out, but I had some decaf. So I ran with like 3 scoops of decaf in there.
No.
And then I go to the, well, dude, because you have to, it would be too weak. Anyway, so then I go to the fridge and I'll tell you, my wife is a gangster about the almond creamer. You don't want to drink all the almond creamer. She will punch you in the face. So I had to make this kind of janky coffee and then had to use less creamer than normal. Oh my God, dude. It's on point. I need to be doing this more. It's like, it's some of the best coffee I've had in a while, and I've had a lot.
Okay, but I'm judging you hard right now. I just want you to know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I'm judged by many.
And Ben says in chat, I think I have everything I need for playing. As for balance, I play whenever I can and try for 90 minutes a day.
Holy Toledo.
And Michael Krause is adding back in, I played more when I owned less. That's more of a function of other responsibilities and being hungry and then having a new hobby and to a new hobby. So he's spreading his time across the board.
Because what'll happen is you'll work hard and you'll be able to play more. And then, it's crazy how that works out. There's times where, go ahead.
No, okay. Herb is saying, as a retirement from coaching football, I bought a Kramer SM1 at $1K. Most I'd ever spend on a guitar. I'd rather spend $500 to $700 and slowly improve with better pickups and parts.
Yep. $1,000 is about my $1,000's about my limit for sure.
And you just have to hear this comment. Graphite and Cigar says, how does one get cream from an almond? Can they be milked?
Oh, it was the almond creamer thing, huh?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So that's another thing on life balance, though. So people don't know my whole story. I was like, at one time in my life, I was very unhealthy and had gotten to a point where I was 280 pounds. And for my frame, that's not cool, right? And it took a whole polar shift to put me back together because I had injuries. I had hang gliding injuries and broke my spine. And what happened was I gave up on my body. And I was like, I'm broken now. I guess I'll never be back together, not knowing that I could get it back. So almond milk, partly responsible.
I'm sorry. There's a couple things going on here, and I'm trying to hold myself together, and I can't.
Don't hold yourself.
No, it comes down to, you're right. You got to take care of yourself, and I've been starting to do a better job of that myself. I'm drinking a lot more water, especially working out in the new workshop. I've cut out the beer. Oh my!
Nope. Don't cut out the beer. That's the wrong thing.
Get rid of that, and so every once in a while, I'm rewarding myself with a root beer.
No, you should definitely drink a little bit of alcohol. Because you, sir, are what I call like the level. Also, the people in our, not that everybody needs to drink. I'm just saying, if you like to have a beer every now and then, have a beer because your brain processes so much information, and you have to make so many decisions. And you're the guy saying yes, no, yes. Ultimate decisions. You need to give yourself a little, like, the leaders of Rome all partied and drank.
I'm trying to drop a whole bunch of the belly, if you know what I mean.
Oh, if it's for the belly, but just drink a light beer, man. 100 calories.
But so I'm kind of backing off that for a while, especially with all the work I'm doing out there. So I'm trying to stay hydrated and all that, and so that's more important. But just proof of what you always say about the show, it is 25% funnier on replay.
Well, I know.
There's a comment from Martian Murray about almonds.
Okay.
And nipples, and I'm leaving it there so you can go back and you can catch the replay and see it all in context as it rolls by. 25%.
Am I an almond smuggler?
Okay, and the other thing Martian Marie says is that pain is his balancer. Too much pain, you take a break, right? And so, whether it be financial, whether it be emotional, whatever it may be. Okay, so and Octopus here is he's on board with you, and he's empathizing with you, and says, "Yeesh, I've been there, Seth, and I'm still kind of there." So he's had some injury things go on that he's recovering from as well. So Guitar Man 45 says the problem is need to build a bigger facility for all the tools. And yes, the goal is spring 2024. What you may not know, Seth, is that Guitar Man 45 is building a studio.
Wow.
And I mean, we're talking full build permits involved. And, you know, we're all looking to go move in when he finishes, because it's going to be like Guitar Wonderland.
Well, at least visit with some good ideas, because no matter any idea that you had for a tone or a song, you'd be able to. He'd hand you 3 guitars as options to make that tone, which is part of the things when you own a studio, you can write all that off because it's stuff that you need for work. Presley Studios.
Oh, Michael, this is tough. Michael says, cut out the chocolate and ice cream. An occasional beer is much better than an occasional hot fudge sundae.
I gotta have both. I gotta do both. So here's what I do. I hate it, but I jog. That's on my list of life balance. One of the things that I do that people probably don't know about me is I do jogging. Have kind of all my life, did it as training for when I was a surfer in my younger years. And it sucks for about the first mile and a half. As soon as you get past that mile and a half, once you've done it for a while, your body gets into this zone and you're just like, you can keep going. And that's what allows me to, luckily, as long as I can as long as my body don't fall apart and I can keep moving, doing the jogging, I can do the ice cream and the beer, because I love ice cream and beer.
Well, you're something that, you know, my wife and I have been talking, and I'm trying to take better care of myself, because get my blood pressure down, take the weight off, all those different things. And, right. And so I can't run anymore because I have arthritis in both my knees. I tore them up when I was in the Army. So, I have to eat smarter. I have to get extra, I have to walk more. And so we've been talking about all that, and just trying to find that rhythm. And you have to take care of yourself in every way, across the board. And I think that goes into all this balance that we're talking about here.
Yeah, you need a rad bike, dude. A rad bike, because your knees will love it, because it's like the assisted pedal. And if you and your wife got them, you'd have so much fun. Although it's hot AF, but you'd have to go at like 7 o'clock when the sun's going down, and you can go zoom. You'd have so much fun. I love my little e-bike. So I've always been too lazy just to get out and ride a 10-speed or a mountain bike, even a mountain bike. And I live in the town that mountain bikes were designed, Fairfax, California, where mountain bikes came from. And I'm like, hell no, I don't want to fall and break my hand. I can't play guitar.
Well, the other place I was sitting there going from that is, I realized now that after playing, after picking up guitar this late in life, that I'm really enjoying it. And I want to do it for a lot longer. And the only way that that's going to happen is if I begin taking care of myself. So you see, it all comes back to guitar.
And guitar is something that you'll be able to do when you're 75, hopefully 85, maybe even 90. Even if it gets to the point where you tune to an open chord and play with a slide or whatever it is, you'll be able to do something, hopefully.
And Lucas, when we're talking about our show being 20% funnier on replay, he says, he usually watches about half the show on replay because how late it, the time difference.
And it is absolutely
he's having a blast live with us. So thank you. We're having a blast. The fact that you're here live with us, we really enjoying that. And Martian Marie, he misses jogging, and I do too. Ben Coombs, that is not funny. He said, Ben Coombs puts in the chat, Charles, you should get a kayak for exercise. Ben happens to know I just got rid of my kayak.
Oh.
I gave it to my brother when he came down.
Oh, that's
because
cool, though.
With my knees getting in and as a fishing kayak, and and so with my knees getting in and out of it, it's getting more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Well, that's cool that it went on to your bro, because I'm very much like that. Like I had a $1,200 custom surfboard that was made for riding big waves. That was made for, like, you've heard of Mavericks, Mavericks and some other spots here in California that are big water moving. You need a special board, very tall, pretty expensive to make. And even if you get them at a discount, they're expensive. So I gave it to my, very close to the guy that sold me the Geo, Albert Romero. I gave him that board, and just knowing that he'll still text me or call me like, dude, caught some big ass waves on that board today.
Yeah. So, water sports are a good way to do it, right? Because it's all around body exercise, and kayaking seems to be very popular in the chat, right? And so,
oh, really?
Does kayaks sound fun? And kayaks is good.
Because you can have beer. That does sound like a good hobby.
Herb uses that stationary bike every morning to get going and get some exercise. He had a knee injury, a knee replacement done, and so he's kind of getting back in shape. And so he gets that whole bad knees thing. And it was one of the things where sometimes there are things you just can't begin to do anymore. And of course, I've been out of the Army for over 20 years, and I left the Army because I had arthritis in my knees. And So, I'm actually, I can, I have full range of motion and pretty good stability, but it's when the arthritis kicks in, it's unmanageable. So,
do you have water near your house close enough to go out and use kayak? Really?
Oh yeah, we got an excellent city park that I can just take it up there, plop it down, but it's getting in and out of on and off it is getting more difficult, and it's just like, okay,
dude, I'm so thankful for when I was a kid. My dad, my birth father back in Maine, would take me, Buddy Presley, would take us out on the river in the canoe. And he always had some cool boats with like engines, and he would keep them running and all that stuff. And it just exposed me to like nature and water and like being out instead of being in, and so I'm very thankful for that, because now I love to go out. I'd rather be out on my bike in nature than just chilling, unless I got a guitar to build.
Yeah.
then I'll build that.
Yeah, and so we got a couple things. Blackjack Guitars congratulating you on losing the weight. Jimmy Ray Hawkins, good morning. Hello. I didn't see you sneak in, and he's saying epoxy board. So apparently going back to when you were talking about your surfboard.
Epoxy light.
And so he was going with that. And Microcross
epoxy is newer technology, right? Back when my board was glass, it was glass and foam. Epoxy super light. I was watching the U.S. Open of surfing yesterday, which is kind of something I enjoy in my older, like something I watch instead of baseball. It's kind of slow paced, but when they catch the wave, it's awesome. They're crazy now.
Yeah. And so I'm going to hit a couple of things in the chat, and then I'm going to try to pull us back onto guitar life balance. Okay. So Michael Cross is saying you sit on top style kayak, no climbing in and out. Yeah, I had a sit on top fishing kayak, which is wider. It's actually easier to get onto. But it was it wasn't fun anymore.
Getting it up and down the hill. It's always going to be on an incline wherever you're putting it into the water. It'll kill your knees. Anytime you're walking down.
It's that moment where you're trying to get out of it. And it's like, so I wouldn't go because I knew, okay, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get on it. It's going to be a pain in the butt to get off it. And so you start talking yourself out of it, right? Even though you should. And then Eddie Faye, swimming is a low impact exercise and keep you cool in the heat. As long as it's not, the water ain't like a bath water. He's right. That's a good way to do things. All right. So let's go ahead and
Was that Eddie that said that? Because I was definitely a swimmer in college. I took it because it was an easy class, right? And I was already a surfer, and my coach was super cool. So that was like, I don't know, probably half the credits that I ever earned in college were from swimming. No, I'm kidding. But,
well, and we got a couple more folks. Like Lucas is agreeing with you. He likes the idea of running as well, running and jogging. And so he plans to do a half marathon kind of thing going there. Hello, Janice. How are you? And
also, things will come to you, dude, when you're fishing or when you're jogging or when you're doing these things you're talking about. It's funny because you'll be doing something completely unrelated, walking on the beach, and then you're like, oh, yeah, if I put the tone on 8, and then if I put the reverb on, and you'll come up with some shit that is completely related to guitar when you were doing fishing or you're on your bicycle or something. So you never know where inspiration strikes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, I think this is time where we dig into our chat members, right? And how do they maintain this guitar life balance? How do they maintain, that desire between having the gear that you want to have and how much time you spend playing guitar and how much, with that and reconciling with the rest of your life?
Pretty sure, dude, it's the almond milk. I like 80% of these people it's the almond milk, bro. life balance.
Eddie Faye says this is a great topic, guitar life balance, and it evolves depending on your phase of life and other events. Kids grow up and you have more time for yourself for a while.
Yep. Or kids for a while you may have put down the guitar because a kid was born, but now the kid's 11 and needs to do something for summertime in a school of rock, right? So suddenly, boom, you're back in it. You're in the game again. And how cool is that? Get the kids involved if you can.
Good morning, Terry. You're right. That's exactly what happened to my knees. It was the running.
Terry, what's up, dude?
Terry 3G in the chat.
Good polished job on that, man. And don't let I'm saying don't let, but people are always going to talk something, say it's got clouds, it's got swirls, it's got a chip, it's got a whatever, and got a whatever. You know what? That's cool. Show me what they built. Show me what they built.
Nice, all buffed up. It looks great. And if he hadn't pointed out that, we wouldn't have caught any of it.
That's so funny because when that's what we do, isn't it? You're like, you've built a perfect guitar, head to toe, perfect guitar, everything's head to toe perfect. But you're like, oh, dude, there's just one spot right there where it did the thing. And,
but those are the spots that like it gives it, it's got character, right? This is the whole thing why I don't get the whole relic thing, right? Because I don't mind if a guitar has a scratch or a chip on it because it's honest thing from being used, right? And so, but we freak out when we do a finish and there's one small blemish in it. And of course, and I was sitting there, I was all worried about a guitar finish I have that I waited too long to wet sand it. And so there's still some, what do you call that when on the finish?
Orange peeling?
Yeah. I still have some orange peel that I can't get out because I waited too long, right, to wet sand. And but I'm like, but it looks fantastic until she turned it at this angle. Well, who's going to turn it at that angle? Right? It's like, I was like, you kind of need to let go of it. And then I sit there, and I was out standing next to my wife's car and other cars in a parking lot one day, and I'm looking at all the orange peel and all these factory paint jobs. And I'm like,
brand new Corvettes.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I can ease up on myself a little bit. There.
I remember for a time when I lived in Los Angeles, sold Chevrolets. I sold Corvettes, and I was pretty good at selling Corvettes because I just kind of hung by the Corvettes. And one of the things that we would offer as an added, and this is a long time ago because they were only about $75,000 for the top of the line. We would add as an added thing. It was like $1,500, and we would wet sand your brand new paint job to get the orange peel out.
Yeah.
So. Those are coming from the factory. But we were telling it the factory paint job is different than a custom paint job. We're offering to take it to that level. We're not just going to say, here, you can only buy a vet that has orange peel, but you're going to have to pay us the money to make it. And people had so much money they didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. And so
they would take the wheels off, brand new wheels, and put anyway, go ahead, returning.
Well, hey, we do the same thing with guitars, right? Brand new guitar, pull off the pickups,
pull the bridge out. That's going in the trash.
We're just as bad. We're just as bad. Dennis Ellis says, gouts of painting, still having good days. Battery keeps the old ticker going. And getting to play gigs every now and then has been fun. Excellent, Dennis. Yes. And if you have not checked out Dennis's channel, please look up Dennis Ellis on YouTube. He plays fantastic, and I really enjoy every time I go over there. And a great vibe. And Michael Krause says that his daughter's 13, so we're a taxi service, going back to that work life, that guitar life balance. There, we've all been there.
Let's see. An Uber sticker. I know my friends. I don't have kids, so I'm the guy. I'm the one that doesn't have kids.
Yeah, but you did some uncling this weekend.
Oh my God, dude! My nephews. They're 5 years old. They are beautiful little dudes. They were born on October 29th, my birthday. So we're bonded, right? And they love to rock. We didn't come to the guitar studio because I didn't want them knocking all my stuff over right now. It's not all secured yet. But they took the energy right out of me. But I played with them for like 5 hours, 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Too much.
Excellent. Octopus Ear says he can't believe his knees are still holding up. He hasn't been nice to them. And Eddie Fay goes back to, he says, I think it was Seth who mentioned minimalism. Steve from Boston and many others point out it ain't the gear, it's the player. We can chase tone, we can improve our playing, or we both. And, or you can take that minimalist approach. The whole idea is to remember, it isn't just a gear. It is about you developing as a player as well. And, for some people,
have what you need and need what you have. But then also at some point in your life, because you've worked hard and you deserve it, have what you want.
Yeah.
And when you don't want it, move it on. Because most of the stuff that we buy is at least secure enough to within 15%. You might come up, you might go down, but you're going to land somewhere around that 15%, either loss or gain on your return when you sell.
Yeah,
so you're not throwing money away.
And the longer my journey has gone on, the more discriminating I've been about what I bring in. Right? Oh, don't do that to me.
So I'm just saying, the day that I spent less than $1,000 on this guitar, was I doing my family wrong? You know what I mean? Like, I know I was but when this goes down the road or down the river, something tells me it's first fret inlay, like your dealio. I love that. It's going to be going for more than I paid for it. So it's just, then it's not such a irresponsible, having more than you need, I guess. I don't know.
And Guitar Man 45 says, "I'll need Charles. You'll need a year to hear the story." I got you, brother.
We'll be back. We're here every week.
I got you. We're here. We've got time. Just give it to us in installments. All right.
So we should set up guitar safari stories at gmail.com, and then people could send us, and then we could freaking. I'd love to tell people stories. Actually, hit us up. You want to come on? Tell some cool stories.
Yeah, I think it's about time to start bringing in some more guests, right?
Totally, yeah. Especially people that's got some cool stuff to talk about, which most of all of our people do. Actually, I would like to pick some people's brains on how they're so good at doing the videos. Like Ben is just cranking. I know the Gorilla guitar demos, but he's cranking out the videos all the time, doing good stuff. And L&M, all the Herb, everybody out there that's doing content. I'm obviously not doing content really lately. I'll get there.
Well, this is from a while back. It was but Herb was saying he agrees with your philosophy. So that whole thing you were talking about there. And
that's funny. Part of my thing on here as far as philosophy is religion, because some of us are religious more than others. I kind of gravitate towards less religion, more philosophy. I am a Stoic believer, which has kind of guided me more recently. It hasn't been my whole life, but I found that a lot of the mantras I live by in life were already existing in Stoic writings and stuff. So I was like, oh, wow, this is trippy. I already believe this. So and plus, they allow you to party and within like reason, and you can drink within reason. You don't do too much. Don't, that's
love it.
Temperance. Temperance is what they call it.
Quentin James points out something really important, really interesting. And we forget about this. We forget about these things sometimes. He says the first two Van Halen albums were a 70s Ibanez and a 300 guitar with a reject body. So it's the player, not the gear. Going back to that philosophy, right?
Absolutely.
And Jimmy Ray Hawkins has a question for you about your carving. He says, is that a Craig Churquizo carving?
It is. I believe that this is actually belonged to Craig Churquizo carving because I live locally to where Craig lived for a long time. I think he's up in Washington now. And the woman I bought it from refused to tell me the name of her boyfriend. And then I came home and did a little bit more research because I already had an idea about it and saw him playing all kinds of like these. And so next time I bumped into her, I said, hey, Craig's guitar is playing great. And just saw her reaction. And I said, oh, that's cool. That's all good. And now I'm talking about it on the internet. Craig, this isn't your guitar. I can tell you that much. It's mine.
But to everybody else, it is.
No, he is so cool. Dude, Craig Churquizo, if you go and look up some stuff that he played on Saturday Night Live, he like had the fan set up perfect and he does this thing. I think he was even chewing gum as he flicked his hair and did some hammer-ons. I was like, oh, yeah. And he's playing a red carving. You're hired.
I love it. Love it. Michael Krause says he has so much more than he needs. And Lucas of L&M Guitar Corner saying he has many guitars, but I don't really have any that he wants to let go of. Either they are objectively amazing or he's emotionally attached to them. And I get that because most of what I have, there's an emotional attachment to. And there are two now that I'm kind of ready to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And almost put them in on a deal to get something else, but I didn't get the deal I wanted, so I didn't. But so I get that. And the longer I go on my guitar journey, the more discriminating I am about what I bring in.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, you're bringing in more vintagey, cool stuff. And you're going to thin, I think, now to just replace with higher end.
Especially like that Univox, right? If it wasn't a 70s, I wouldn't have picked it up.
This one I can sell. Somebody can buy this one. It's really cool though. Single. We were talking about relicking and how, so I like to do the closet clean relic thing where you use relic hardware, and then the body, when you inevitably chip it or scrape it or whatever happens during the natural process of building a guitar, usually, it's a slight relic. I mean, nothing that you do on there is going to be, it's probably better than they came from the factory back in the day anyway, because it's very clean. But that's what I like to get. It helps you to get away with a little bit if you did have a mishap. And
that's what I like about some of your guitars is because like some of them you go with the new stuff and some you do that kind of relic hardware. And when you did the relic hardware on the Paisley Telly, it fit that guitar so well.
Yeah, it forgives imperfections, doesn't it? So any little imperfections become, your eye is seeing,
Well, you're saying the character, right? You get the
right.
It becomes a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Cushman NYC. Kush, how you doing?
What up, dude?
And Rico B has popped in. Good morning, Rico. How are you?
Rico B. That's how I usually write it in the chat. Anyway,
Love those two guys.
He's got to be hot. AF. because he's on the other side of this death bubble. Are you still in the death bubble?
We are. It was 107 yesterday here, I think.
Oh, that's terrible.
But I complained, and then someone reminded me the other day that those folks in Arizona, they're doing a lot worse than I am, and so hang in there.
It's like 118 or something. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then as you're to your comment about the content that Ben's been putting out lately, he says, he's been rolling. He's been on a roll creating content, but that does go up and down. But sometimes when you want to put out that a lot of you want to put out a lot of content, make it easier on yourself. Shoot it with your phone, fewer edits, raw, and get it, and kind of get it out there. Just make sure that you plan what you're going to do before you start doing it, and it makes it a lot easier. Of course,
I can't believe Ben gets as much.
The fun of a Ben video is all the stuff that goes wrong anyway, right?
Absolutely. I was going to say, I can't believe that Ben gets as much content as he does, because behind the scenes, as far as I know, he's the main person taking care of his dad, which I know from personal experience with my stepdad that it can completely consume. Sometimes it's hard to even break away because you're so much, that's your dad, that you love him, you're taking care of him, you're doing all that. And then to instantly be able to go and provide content for us who don't know about the other world. And, it's hard work, man. He's doing a great job.
And it's good. And so Michael Krause has a comment in the chat that just fits.
You have like some kind of gear fairy in your closet that you have locked up that is trying to escape and throwing.
Yes, exactly what it is. But Michael Krause in the chat is saying all things in moderation except guitar stuff.
If you can consider buying more guitars, if you make wise purchases, all the Guitar Safari approved purchases, then it's a savings account. Okay. And I mean, it's not federally insured, and it's not even like cosmically insured. You could have this terrible crash of this guitar market, like where all people who love guitars over the next 50 years die. And then, those of us that are left over with all the guitars that we had and the ones in fire.
We lost the Seth. And we got the Seth back.
Oh my God. What the hell?
I don't know. But it worked out. Okay, so there's something going on in the chat here, because I saw something about and now his signature at Kiesel is a thin line thing. So I have no idea what that's going on, but that's Octopus Ears is talking about that. Well, love it.
We got to get some shirts going. I think it's a Press California custom shirts going for sure. That's a long time overdue.
Octopus Ears says, and you'll have to say that again because I didn't hear a word you're saying. I was too busy laughing.
It's okay. You're reading. I know it's a lot.
And but Octopus Ears says, I'm doing the minimalist thing. My gear is worth more than my car, but I don't have more than I need. So he's buying. He's doing that smart thing. He's investing in something that is good quality, and he doesn't need a whole lot, but it takes that up. So you were saying, I'm so sorry before I just talked over you. And
oh, dude, don't even trip. I'll just skip over to the Octopus Ears things. I recently drove from Sausalito, where the store is, to here in Fairfax in my Geo Metro, which I bought for $700, but I had to do another $50 because we had to buy a battery, so $750. With about I don't know, $6 or $7 grand worth of gear in the car, because I loaded up from my shop. So I'm like, wow, this car is worth $700, and the gear is like 10 times more than the car. But car works. Clutch, not so great, but hey.
I've been in that boat.
It's weird because sometimes it'll clang, 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 and then sometimes it'll be like nice and quiet. And then I went out the other day, and it was just there's not a bunch of a space, but I can shift good. And I was like, this fucker wants to go to LA on a road trip, and then no, it doesn't. Trust me, it does not.
So we have a Safari alert in the chat.
Okay.
Michael Krause says his problem is he can't pass on a bargain. Friday was a Safari day. Snagged a Fernandez single cut with a sustainer for free and a JC77 amp with some PV and some PV keyboard amps for $200. So
wait, you mean to tell me you got that Fernandez for free?
That's what he's saying.
Glitching. Hold on. Glitching.
Apparently, I guess he bought the JC77 amp and some PV keyboard amps for $200.
And then he punched them in the face after he was giving the money, and wham! And was like, "I'll take the Fernandez too as part of the deal." It worked out.
Perhaps. So
I'm not saying that we're going to the police with that information, but that seems like probably what happened. There's about 80% chance that it involved a punch or a club of some sort.
Oh my!
I don't get it.
Eddie Fay is jumping on the Aquasier's previous comment when he's talking about what the gear he had, and he says, "This is why I'm moving away from amps and pedals, etc. With the right software, you don't sacrifice options and tone. It costs less space, and everything is organized and dialed in." And I get that. Everybody has their own thing, right? For me, I get option paralysis with all those options. And so I would much rather have, like, for example, my Epiphone 210 there. It's just a couple of knobs. It does the thing I want it to do. It sounds great. And I can maybe add a pedal onto that or two. Or
that's I was just going there for you, Charles. Hold on, you got to add a pedal.
Oh, I was going to make an offer to you. If you want to trade your PV Classic 30, I'll send you my positive grid.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
It's just got what you need. It's a very simple, like you said. What are there, 4 knobs? It does everything you need without getting too crazy.
And John Zed D351, welcome into the chat first of all. But I love this comment. I had a good laugh one day when I saw an ad for a relic guitar which was apparently in mint condition. I don't know how they could prove that. A relic guitar in mint condition.
Oh God. That makes your head hurt, right? It's like, have you ever gotten the card? Oh shoot, I don't have my wallet. I save them when I get them. The card that comes to you in the mail attached to your new healthcare card or whatever. And then the other card is a white card, but on it says intentionally blank.
Yeah.
But it's not blank because it says intentionally blank on it. Oh.
Yeah. It's all those things. And why do I need that?
Just leave it blank. Then I know it's intentionally blank. If you write intentionally blank on it, it's no longer blank. Now it says something on it, so it's not blank. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My brain. So it's the coffee.
Yeah,
it's the almond creamer.
So see, it's not the almond milk creamer. It's a decaf that you slip in there. It's messing with your head.
Right. I can't.
See, that's why I told you it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Herb of Fireside Studio says his issue right now with longer content is his knee, right? Because he had that knee replacement. He's still, doing the rehab on that and getting that right. And it takes period of time. So sitting for a long period of time and knocking out something like that is a little bit difficult for him right now.
Yeah, and it's even up and down, back and forth too, because even inside the studio, so getting ready for this morning, even though I didn't know that Shot would not show all the guitars because I spent more time sitting, but it's like, you spend time physically moving stuff around just to exist in your studio. My amps are heavy. I have only tube amps. I got a half stack here, Mesa, that's heavy. My other PV, I showed you a picture of it the other day. I hadn't shared it. It's a Bandit 15 with a Sheffield speaker. It's pretty cool.
All right, Terry, I get it. So Terry says, I was going to say I thought this was Guitar Safari, not Guitar Shangri-La.
Oh, where we all say namaste.
Oh, that is just so funny.
Namaste, but namas buy another guitar. Mm-hmm.
And Herb says, when I die, I hope my wife doesn't sell my guitars for what I told her I paid for them.
Hey, so this is kind of funny. This is surrounded by me. I've got my Carbon, the Chiquiso Carbon. I've got behind me American Fender, my number one.
West though, and
over here.
Go ahead. So Jimmy Ray Hawkins says, I want a Presley California custom shirt with some 65 Deluxe microbus theme on it.
With and then here it's gonna say one V, 1T.
Yeah.
Like one volume, one tone, and then maybe even if we can do a combined shirt with guitar, might as well have the Guitar Safari, and then because this is something that's been in my life for I think 25 years or something. I've had it for a long ass time. But what I was saying about all the guitars is I got the Carbon, I got the American Fender, my number one beautiful Strat. I got my brother's 71 SG. I got a couple really choice builds that I did. Guess what I ended up playing half the day yesterday in the studio? The Squire Mini.
Ooh.
Just the Squire Mini, but it's the one that I put the Duncan in the bridge, and I put the Bartolini's in it, and I rolled. So I had the little kids down here for a minute, and yeah, this is eventually going to be theirs, but they're not quite big enough for it. Another couple years, yeah, and they get to be 8, 10, something like that.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's gonna be really cool for them to sit there and do something like that. When you got such a great deal on that, it's no big deal, right? Now they have something that they can plunk on, and if they do something to it, no big deal.
Well, this is probably for when they start actually playing. I've got a couple other little clunker guitars that I tune to open chord, and they're even smaller than these ones. They're by what the heck's the name of that company? They're little tiny kid guitars, and I have a few of them. I like to keep them around, so it's just like if you won't touch my guitars, if I give you one to play with.
Yeah. Well, Monch, if we haven't said hello yet, go hello. How you doing? He is talking about his old Ampegs have some spring reverb. Just missed an Ampeg 4x10 cab for $50. Couldn't get a ride to New Jersey to pick it up. Oh, so sorry. So sorry.
Yeah, I saw a Positive Grid that had like the bag and everything in Sonoma, right next to where my big brother lives, for 190. I was gonna hit him and ask him for 150, and then beg my brother to go over and pick it up for me, and then we could just meet. Because my brother works fairly close. He works in Marin Civic Center. I wish I could ride my bike there, but Napa or Sonoma is about 40 miles. So nope, not doing that.
Well, we are at the end of our time, and
what? Oh my God!
It's 11:15. I just turned 12. I am popping in the link for Music Therapy Laz's show live in a little bit here, and want to thank everyone once again for joining us. We had a really good time. We had 24 peepers at this particular time right now.
Dude, so thank you to everybody
for all the way through. So we appreciate everybody coming in. It's been a great conversation. Seth, what do you got to say?
I would say that people that stuck this far with us, we love you. Also that, the replay progressively gets funnier and funnier. So this week it's probably 40% funnier than the initial show. And a lot of people probably staggering in after Tony, since he probably went long, going to check us out on the replay later, man. But I love coming here and hearing everybody's stories, and we'll try to get that email set up so somebody can send us some cool shit and get some other people on.
Definitely. So thank you guys. We all so glad you came in. We look forward to seeing you again next week. For those of you that came in late, we're going to replay our theme song on the way out.
This was amazing.
Have a great week, Sherman.
All right. Yeah, I can't.